Someone says this, hey, Paul, big fan. Where can I go to find episodes of Human Giant? I absolutely love that show, and I cannot find it anywhere. Look, this is something that I'm bummed about. This is something that really sucks. Human Giant Season 1, we released a DVD. You can still get that DVD, but it's a DVD. It's not a Blu-ray. It's got great special features. It's got great commentary tracks. Kristen Schaal, Bill Hader on the commentary tracks. We have a large portion of our 24-hour marathon on the DVD. But Season 2 is nowhere to be seen. And this is really something that is happening more and more in our industry, where things are just disappearing. I think you've seen it all. Like HBO Max has been pulling shows off the air. Disney Plus has been pulling shows off the air. There's this Willow show. Willow show started in mid-November, and they pulled it off the air or off the streamer just a couple weeks ago. It wasn't even on for 6 months, and now you can't get it anywhere. And all these companies and corporations are pulling these amazing shows off their platforms because they don't want to pay residuals to the people in them. And they also can get a tax write-off. So basically, if you say, oh, we're losing money on this, you can actually get a tax write-off. It's the reason why Warner Brothers canceled that movie, Batgirl. Batgirl was completed, and they're like, kill it. So it's this weird thing that's happening right now. I wouldn't say this is a reason why people are on strike, but I think it all speaks to this larger thing, which is right now, Hollywood is on strike. Writers are on strike. Directors just negotiated a deal. We'll see if it passes. And actors are negotiating to see whether or not they will go on strike, all because these big, giant corporations are no longer run by creative individuals. They are creative, but they have to answer to big money, right? So in the past, you might have an executive who makes something like Michael Clayton, and that actually gives the studio cachet. It's like, we want more Michael Claytons, but we also need some Spider-Mans too. So you mix it up. But now, since all these companies are owned by Wall Street, it's all about share prices and stock holdings. They see things as a loss, and they start to treat art, anything, as a loss. For example, I did a documentary for Disney Plus that did very well, but since it's been on Disney Plus for 2 years, it was in that cutting, that chopping block area. It was just pulled off of the platform, which totally sucks because it's now unavailable anywhere else. Now, there's a little bit of a question about, are they pulling them off to bankrupt them to get a tax write-off, or are they pulling them off to save money? It's unknown. A lot of the shows that are pulled off are as tax write-offs. And when they're tax write-offs, that means that you cannot access them again. They can't sell them again. My hope, my dream, and I've been trying to work on this in some way, but it's going to take a lot of people to figure it out, is to create some sort of a public library on the internet that houses all these things for free. Because there are so many things that you can't access anymore that you simply can't get to. And the reason why I think we could actually do it is, if we don't charge anyone to access the library, then we're not stealing anything. We're not making money off it, because that's a big thing. You can't make money off it. You just have to be able to be out there. And since no one owns it because they've taken a loss on it, it feels to me that we are in an area that would allow us to save shows. Now, it wouldn't give anybody money. If you get like 1 million watches on something, you wouldn't get any money. But isn't that better than never being able to see it again? I think so. And that's my 2 cents on that. But yeah, this is the whole reason why I think everybody is kind of freaking out. There's a lot of issues why people are freaking out. But the library could do that. Yes, the library could do that. But I think it would have to be a little bit different, because whoever houses it would have to be the keeper of it. You couldn't it's just tricky. Like, you need to build, yes, you would need to build some sort of digital library, like even if it's like a governmental library, like a Library of Congress, like that kind of to store it and hold it in some sort of open source thing that everyone can access. We need to get Human Giant into the Library of Congress. I do believe that like there's so many shows that I would love to watch that you can't access because executives have taken a write-off on it. And when we decided not to do season 3 of Human Giant, they said, well, if you don't do season 3, we will call your show a loss and you'll never be able to access it again. And we were cocky and we were young. We're like, whatever, go do it. And then they did, and that sucked. So you can't access season 2 anywhere. If you want to find it on BitTorrents and stuff like that, go for it. Speaking of which, okay, wait. Okay. Oh, all right. So I am describing the Internet Archive, which is actively under attack by book publishers. Well, let me ask you this. Are those books available? This is a hard way to have a conversation with somebody because I have to wait for that thing to come back. I'm not saying put up Fast 10 in the archive. If they have said it's not about it being out of print, these are things that someone has taken a loss on. So like Warner Brothers says, we declared this show bankrupt. We cannot make any money off of this. The only way we can make money off this is if someone else buys it, which no one else is going to buy it. So in that world, they can't profit off of it. Now, if someone came in to buy it, then you could pull it off that library access. But until then, it would at least live in a world where you could access it. Criterion picks up some classics. Criterion's having some trouble too, though, because Disney Plus owns, Disney owns Criterion now. And they cut an offensive word out of the French Connection. And guess what? It's not even in the Criterion version anymore. The streaming Criterion version. So that's interesting. And these things happen under the cover of night. They just happen. Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Somebody at Disney thought that the Irish people in it sounded too Irish. So they just redubbed all the voices. Just gone under the cover of night. So that's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of changes going here. I think there's a lot of want to go back to physical media. I get that. I think that ship has sailed to a certain extent, but things can be changed and they can be updated across the board. So like I said, where that benefits me, all my Star Trek movies that I've ever bought on iTunes are now 4K. That's awesome. Where it hurts me is my copy of French Connection is forever edited. All right, Comic Left wrote back here. They were acting as a library during COVID, which a judge described as non-original works, even though they bought copies for the sake. Well, this is this is a little different. This is a little different what I'm talking about. And because these are things that are technically ineligible to be made, you can't make a profit on them. So as long as you're not charging people to get into the library and you're not charging people to watch and you're not allowing them to download it, I think it would fall under a category of fine. But we'll see. Okay, let's see. And you know what? Shout out to the Shout Factory. Shout Factory does amazing reboots and re-releases. I love what they do, and they do them like just really beautiful transfers of smaller movies. And yeah, there's no preservation. We go back. We think about this time, like Martin Scorsese is always trying to preserve our film, right? And he's going back and finding original cuts and prints and things like that. Now we live in a world where these things are digital. It's easy. You would think that having a streaming service that just has everything is great, but they see it as a problem where they have to pay creators money. And that sucks. The reason why SCTV had a trouble coming out was because they didn't clear music rights. And that's the same reason why I believe Moonlighting had an issue with coming out. Certain times you haven't cleared the rights for all things. Like MTV couldn't re-release The State on DVD because they had no music clearances. Things that could air on TV they couldn't air on a videotape. So they had to go back and redub things and change it up. Human Giant is completely cleared for all internet media, so that's not a problem. That's fine. So we got that. Quentin Tarantino says the only streaming service that he subscribes to, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the name of it right now, and it's really good. It's like a, oh God, I'll remember it too. Yes, Farm Boy, yes, I know that online storage costs money to maintain. But what I am pitching here is that you get a bunch of creatives, people who have lots of money, and like I would be on the board of such a thing and give a yearly donation along with plenty of other people that don't want their things to waste. So it's like the creators would be paying for this site to live. So there's no money. It's purely a charitable organization, is what I would say. Elon Musk, I can't get him in on it. It's not Shutter. It's not that. It is. I'll tell you exactly. Just give me a second to Google it right here, and I'll tell you exactly the thing it is. All right. This is always upsetting when I have to Google mid show to give you some information.
Do you want us to fill space while you're?
Yeah, fill some space while I tell you guys.
Is it Arrow?
It is Arrow. It is Arrow. Quentin Tarantino only subscribes to Arrow and Friendzone on Twitch.